So pretty much every year I make a video evaluating Star Citizen. It's called a year in review, and this year, right now, I believe the game is in the best place it has ever been. So if you want to find out what the IAE as well as the game as a whole has to offer for you, well then, stay tuned to find out. Sometimes I think I can give off this impression that I believe Star Citizen can do no wrong. That is not the case. This year was not fantastic, but the very end, where we are right now, 10, 12 months into it, with, to be honest, the third patch of the year, which is quite late, I'm actually really happy with where it is. And what I want to do is talk about why that is, talk about what I think it means for the everyday average player, and some of the things that you guys can look forward to, just like you saw earlier. The new ships, the new Hurston armor, and all of it is brand new as of right now. So to start, let's look at where we've been, and now where we've come to. Patch 3.12 was the very last year in review that I did, and it was, let's say, the year of visual fidelity. A lot of things introduced in patch 3.12 and that entire year were really just about improving the game's visuals. A few new ships were of course added, but they were not added in the same way as they are now as of 3.14, 3.15. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Head tracking was of course introduced way back when, but it is way more improved now with much better accuracy and a lot of fundamental actual skills that you can achieve with your head tracking, like targeting missiles. So in stark contrast to that year then, I think this year has all been about quality of life improvements. Just look at patch 3.14, probably the biggest introduction of this quality of life change, which also affected how ships were brought into the game from there on out. Fundamentally changing gameplay for everyone with the introduction of capacitors and capacitor gameplay, as well as the change to gameplay, whether that be on foot, whether that be about how you fight, and with 3.15, even how you survive. As the first major topic in any video like this should be focused on gameplay, I would say the gameplay of Star Citizen is now more like a game than ever before, with the introduction of Death of a Spaceman and the just previously mentioned medical gameplay, keeping yourself and others alive out on the battlefield and in the verse. Really, the game has become something of an actual challenge to maintain and keep things that you find or purchase. And this is a key point. Keep things that you find or purchase, because yes, that's right, if you've been living under a rock, Star Citizen has just introduced for the first time ever player looting, which means if I find you or your things, and of course inevitably survive the janky game mechanics surrounding it, I can take your things. There are rare loot items you can find in boxes, whether they be scattered about the verse or very regularly found in bunkers. You've still got to worry about your food and your water balance. You've still got to worry about keeping your player alive. And with a general wipe to the database, we have a brand new grind to start for everyone. But what will you be grinding for? Well, let's talk about the new and improved ships. Things we play, the things that make this game what it is. Lots of ships have come in this year, some of them way more powerful than others, and some absolute game changers right now, just as the International Aerospace Expo is about to debut. Right now, the Ion and the Inferno, a ship from Crusader with the first size 7 cannon we've ever seen, is out in players' hands already. The Redeemer, a fan-made ship, a gunboat with zero compromises, again, is out, ready for players to use right now. Loads of ships came out this year, some absolutely mesmerizing in terms of just style and not so much performance, but really this year has been about sheer ship performance, or as others would maybe say, power creep. Let's quickly talk about that. I think it's still fair to completely say that Star Citizen is not a pay-to-win game. However, Those of you that may have more money than some will definitely benefit from spending more this year. Let's just look at one example. Again, another ship from Crusader, but this time with 3 variants. So you've got your standard cargo, the C2. This is the Hercules C2. This standard cargo variant of this ship shares the exact same hull and interior space layout as the other 2 variants in the lineup. But it is just a cargo ship, which means it doesn't have as many guns, or as much hull strength. Then you have the M2, the military version of this cargo hauler, with more guns, more armor. Lastly, you've got the A2, the bomber variant, the strongest, hardest hitting gunship of all. Now, the Redeemer is still the best gunship to date, the Hammerhead again being a gunship of sorts, but the A2 is a totally different kettle of fish. This ship package perfectly demonstrates the power creep that is just alone in one series of ships. And people will complain, rightly so, that some new ships do come out far more powerful than their predecessors could have ever imagined. Right now, as a starting player, you might be thinking, to what I've just said, so my Aurora, my Mustang, can they even compete? Well, you'll be glad to know with the new introduction of ships, a complete rebalance has also been performed. Everything from shields to weapons have all been reset to a sort of net zero, which means no longer, just like in patch 3.12 or even further back 3.8, is there a definite and massive power advantage to being able to just fit bigger guns on your bigger ships. Bigger guns require more power and therefore don't actually allow you to fire as many bullets in one quick succession. But smaller guns, well, they let you keep the DPS high, the output, and keeping your output high means your opponent won't be able to regen shields anywhere near as fast. So yes, your Aurora can definitely take on bigger targets now. I can't promise you'll be able to take on a Redeemer or an A2, but you should definitely be able to hold your own against a Hornet or a Sabre. I think maybe I've teased you enough. Let's just talk about the actual game now as a complete package. For any of you that are just looking to get in, come back, or maybe just a refresh course on what's available. On screen, yes, you are looking at the brand new collectible Hurston security armor. Now, this one on screen isn't actually the very, very rare one worn by Hurston Security themselves over in the business district. No, this one you can actually buy from Tammy & Sons, which is a bit of a shame because, of course, this year we got the reputation system, and this sort of clothing, this sort of item would be a great reputation reward. However, I will leave it up to you to try and figure out how you're going to get hands on the ultra rare variant, and well, do look forward to seeing it. So go and click on the Discord link down below in the description and go post some pictures and sweet pics of your conquest. So apart from collectible goodies, both in verse and obviously in the stores, the brand new ships to work towards. Things like the Constellation Taurus, Aegis Redeemer, my personal favourite and a must grab. You've got the Ares. You've got the brand new Misk something or other coming during the special IAE event. And pretty much everything else you've worked hard for before in the past. Obviously a wipe means that you're going to have to start again fresh. But I do think the game provides a replayable platform now, especially with the revived mechanic, the better team play, the better and more stable relaunch through bed logouts. Yes, they do work, you should try them. The game is more consistent now, which I think is what this game was missing back when I reviewed it in 3.8, 3.12, etc. The replayability of Star Citizen as of 3.15.1 is the highest it's ever been. It still has its bugs, please do not think that this game is somehow not an alpha, it definitely still is. But the replayable factor, the consistent reward measures at different tiers of ships and ship challenges, the abundance of missions to do, although many are copy and paste, they do provide a good way of interacting with the environment and hopefully running into some encounters which you just wouldn't expect, like the one I showed you on screen earlier where I hijacked that guy's freelancer. Frankly guys, to put it short, Star Citizen is in the best place it's ever been, which isn't saying much in terms of games as a whole, but it is saying a lot for where we've been in the past 12 months alone. I have hated playing this game at some points during this year, but right now, genuinely, except for the occasional bug or server hiccup, desync, which is going to happen regardless, the game is in a state where it is not only competitive and replayable, but also enjoyable and long-lasting. Sessions go on for multiple hours, days. I've not had a 30k for the last 2 weeks, so that is something to be said. Speaking actually of 30ks, they also introduced 30k crash recovery, so even if you get a 30k now, which I haven't had, it doesn't even matter because your ship and your ship's contents will all be saved every 10 minutes. Now, I spend my time in the verse doing things that you might not do. I spend my time mostly grinding a bit of alpha, and I of course love my boots on the ground first-person action in this game, or flying my Zimp ships. But I also like hanging out with you, the wider community, so if you want some help in Star Citizen, or you just want to get involved and enjoy this fabulous game, well, please either visit me over on Twitch where you can see everything before you even want to try it. Go watch some of my older videos. In fact, I released 2 this week that should be really helpful to the new players of 3.15.1. Or, once you're happy and you do know you want to get involved, use my referral code before getting your first ship package. Make sure you buy the Aurora if nothing better. And come join me in the verse. I promise you, it is not something you want to pass up on now. At $45, the game is definitely worth it. I have seen countless games released this year that just do not meet expectations, that have been made by experienced developers that cost twice, if not 3 times as much. This game is, quite frankly, a niche for sure, but it's definitely not something you want to pass up on when it works like it is doing currently. So maybe I'll see you in the verse, and hopefully this video helped you clear up a few ideas that you may have had about the game. Ignore the Kotaku articles, ignore nonsense that you've heard from friends. Play the game for free during events like the IAE. Come by the streams and check them out, or just take the plunge and try it out, at least the first 30 days anyway. So until next time guys, I'll see you in the verse.